So,
With Jenny, she was the only one induced. Didn't like that.
oh, you had to be induced for her.
No.
The hospital wanted it.
Oh, okay.
You know, he had said to me, I was in like Wednesday, and he said, well, if you're not in here sooner, he was thinking she would come. And it was a little early with her.
Yeah.
And he said, come, I'll see you. Come over, check in Thursday night if I don't see you before that. So I check in Thursday night. I'm in the hospital all night long and nothing is going on.
Was it your due date?
A little early.
A little early, okay.
And anyway, during the night, thinking, no, there's absolutely no signs of this baby being born. And so around 5, 6 o'clock, I said, well, I think I'm ready to go home. And the nurse said, let me check you. And she broke the water deliberately.
Oh.
And then she was born at 8 o'clock or something. It started, I mean, they had me on Pitocin. But
they had?
hadn't done anything all night. That's why I said, let me go
Yeah.
home.
I can't believe the Pitocin didn't do anything.
Not until I broke the water, and then it was hard.
Right. Painful.
Yeah. And very rapid. And then, of course, they hadn't contacted Dick because nothing was going on. Somewhere along
Where
the
did you
line,
think she was?
Somewhere along the line, he went to work.
Oh, I see.
Somewhere along the line, my watch broke, stopped, I don't know what. And so I was madder than mad. He wasn't there, and I had the baby.
Which one was this?
Jenny. And I don't know
Oh,
what.
that's right. I come in, there's a baby there. Nobody said anything to me. I just came in to visit.
Right. Why didn't they call you?
Who
I have no
knows?
idea. Well, your grand cousin Russell Keepick, his wife, my cousin, drove herself to the hospital. And after she'd been there some time, they called him to come and get her. He had never showed up.
Oh my
So about
gosh.
their
Just waiting. Yeah.
About their 8th or 9th kid.
Oh my gosh.
Well, anyway, that was Jenny's. Peggy's, I know we drove into Park Falls. I don't remember anything special other than going.
No, Tom was being taken care of by the...
Tom and Jenny,
By who?
our friends, Forest Service friends, the Eggins.
Oh, okay.
Dropped him off at the Eggins and went in on a Sunday night. And,
Because you thought you were in labor?
oh, I was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we dropped him off around 7 o'clock. That was when Ed Sullivan came on. They were watching Ed Sullivan. You know, I remember other details.
Of course, yeah, there's
other
random
labor or
things.
anything. And I don't know. She was born quickly, but I don't know exactly what time. And Larry's the one. The nurse wanted me to deliver him in the hallway or in the room.
What do you mean?
The nurse said, I'm ready. She's having the baby right here. And my doctor insisted that we go 2 doors down the hall to the delivery room.
Oh, okay.
So they moved me on the bed while I was in hard labor. That wasn't very fun.
Oh,
What baby was that?
Larry.
There. The story I got was the other way around. The doctor wanted to deliver, and the nurse says, not out here and make a big mess that I got to clean up.
No, it was the other way
The other way
around.
around, yeah.
remind me what you had said about Larry. So Larry, what town was Larry in?
I told you it was supper time at 6 when I
Oh, you felt the
it.
drop.
And then at 10 to 10 he was born.
And what town were you in?
Well, we went from Butternut to Park Falls.
Okay.
And these were the other parts of the stories were that when he was 6 weeks old, we moved to Springfield. And let's see, Nancy, we mentioned hers. The roses were in bloom the end of May. It was so pretty. I've never seen roses in bloom in Minnesota, Wisconsin the end of May.
Oh,
that's
right.
like the end of June.
You, did you know you were moving in 6 weeks after his birth?
With Larry?
When did you find out you were
I
moving?
think we knew a few days before he was born.
Yeah.
And did they give you 6 weeks, or were they just like?
I don't think that ever came up in the conversation.
That
Okay.
was just the way it worked.
We moved.
Right. And the Forest Service packed you, or you packed you?
I packed all of ours. I packed. You could make money on packing yourself.
Your mother was very frugal. Every opportunity she had to make a nickel to save one, she'd take it.
They really weren't. Well, I guess they were, but if you wanted to, then you could collect extra money
Right.
for the move.
You just think most people, if they have 4 children already, wouldn't with a newborn wouldn't want to do their packing.
4 children under the age of 4 or something.
Right.
See who's next.
I've been going through the slides. I've got 11, nearly 1,200 slides
Mhm.
on the disc. And I look at the younger ones and I can't imagine how your mother did it.
Me either.
Unbelievable.
So after Larry was born and we'd moved, we went to Minnesota, and that's when I had my miscarriage during the travel.
Mm-hmm.
I bled heavily during the travel on
Oh.
the way to Minnesota.
Okay. But you didn't know you were pregnant.
No. And then, well, I had another one. No, that one, but I lost one where, well, maybe it was,
In the
I
toilet? or whatever?
passed it in the toilet at home, but then the bleeding continued during the trip.
Oh, okay.
And I had to have the DNC after that.
Oh, okay.
Because of the heavy bleeding that,
Yeah, that
and
wasn't stopping.
obviously cleared it all out. And then Nancy, and then with Wesley's,
Oh, wait, what was Nancy's again?
the trip through the roses, and well, that was interesting. The doctor lived just a half mile from us, and he had 4 kids. And Springfield had a Catholic hospital and a non-Catholic hospital.
Why would you call it the hospital?
Anyway, I said to the doctor, he said, well, where do you want to deliver? And I said, well, Catholic hospital, if I have the opportunity. He said, well, I'm not
Certified.
I want to say enrolled. That's
Oh,
the
right. Like they don't
word.
let him deliver at
With
that hospital.
And he said, but I can get permission. And he said, I will. So that the memory there is he said to me when we got there, he said, now at this hospital, and I had so many kids, and he had 4 of his own. So he said, do you want medication? I said, no, I've had these last ones without, just don't do anything. Just let me go. He said, well, everybody's going to be heavily sedated, and they're going to scream and yell, and you're going to hear all of it,
Mm-hmm.
which you do.
Right.
So that was the interesting part of that hospital. And then the other thing was at that hospital convincing them not to give me dry up pills because I nursed. And boy, I had to check. They kept coming around with those
Oh,
pills.
because that
all
wasn't
the
in
time.
vogue. Nursing
Yeah,
wasn't in vogue.
Right. And that was the one place that I had to. Again, it was a big hospital.
Right.
Mostly I was in little hospitals, but you get into the big one and things are a little different. Tom was born in a big hospital, and Nancy and Wes were.
Is Wesley Springfield too?
Yeah.
Wait, so Tommy was Minneapolis,
Yeah.
and you were visiting
Paul.
Dad's mom.
No, he was already in. Well, yeah, but he was already in school, and that's why I was
You were
visiting
living
her.
in
Oh, you were
He
living in
moved there
Minneapolis.
for that year that he had his graduate work.
Okay.
So we moved there June 1st, July 1st.
It would have been
June.
July 1st.
July 1, and then he was born August 25th. So
July
six-
25th.
6 weeks, give or take.
No,
is-
Tommy's July 25th.
I had a
So 25 days.
Yeah.
I had a fellowship that paid more than my salary in the Forest Service. So naturally I took it.
Oh, right. But wait, I thought Irma. I need to lay that out. You can give me that. So I thought you were visiting Irma. Remind me of that Tommy story. You told me last time you were here, but I can't remember.
He would go for a week at a time up north for his project in forestry.
Mm-hmm.
So he was 3 hours from, and she was 2 hours out maybe?
Yeah, 2 hours.
And out at the farm and all, and she asked me to come out there and spend the week with her, and that was fine. Tommy arrived about 10 days early.
Okay.
As big as he
He
was.
never forgave us because he could have, if he'd born more in August 1st, he could have played Little League one more year. Never got over it.
So that's why I was out at Irma's.
And then but remind me what happened that she said we better go back to Minneapolis.
Well, of course,
Just
it was
back
hot
pain?
and out there at the farm. As you've been out there, that's where we were.
Mm-hmm.
no indoor plumbing and
Oh,
just the house, no air conditioning.
Yeah.
Everything was very hot. And I was laying on the floor a lot because it was cooler.
yeah.
And that's when she said, I don't know, I think we better go back.
And he was born when?
Well, I think we went back. Oh, this is so pretty.
I'll have to show you pictures of her in it yesterday. It was adorable.
I think that was on Saturday that we went back, and then it was Sunday night that I went into labor. And we called Dick because he had such a long trip home. And she and I went over. I think we went ahead of you, Dick, didn't we, to the hospital? Because I know we went in the morning.
You were in the hospital when I arrived.
Yeah, so we went over
Okay.
before he got home. And then came after.
And then, okay, so then Wes. So far, none of these your water has broken? Which one?
None.
Okay.
I said I think it was with Nancy.
Maybe
I
that one.
had
Okay, the
some
slow.
dripping during that night.
Okay.
You know, it wasn't anything spectacular at
Right.
all. Then that's the only one that yeah, that's it. I don't even have, because I was awake through all of the deliveries, I don't even have any memory of it breaking.
Afterwards,
Yeah,
like at the
while
hospital.
you're laying in
Right.
the hospital and you suddenly have,
Right.
yeah, nothing like that.
And then for Wesley.
Well, with Wesley, you know, I was pregnant with him while we were having all that fun with Larry. You know,
Dealing
he'd
with the
had
cancer?
his operation, he'd had his cancer, he'd tried to drink something out of a bottle that had kerosene in it. You know, it was just like one thing after the other. What else happened with him?
You get hit by a
Breast
car?
cancer and got hit by a truck.
Oh yeah, did he? Okay.
Was that when you were pregnant still?
Mm-hmm. The cancer thing was already over. The other thing was already over, and we're getting ready to go to Mary Hyers. I think it was Mary Hyers' party, going away party. They were leaving, and we were already friends because we'd been friends in Wisconsin, then again in Springfield.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a new dress. And
What town are you in?
Springfield.
Okay.
In that pretty house, in that
Yeah.
Spanish house, and. I had this pretty new aqua dress on. I was probably 7 months pregnant. And-
August. And Wes was born in
October. Yeah, 7 months. I was just remembering size, not dates.
Right.
How big I was at that point. So the babysitter had just come. We're in the living room, just about ready to go out to the car. We're both all dressed up, and my neighbor comes rushing in through the door, you know, like we were in a long living room like this, and the street out there. She comes rushing in, and she said, Larry's been hit by Larry.
Yeah.
Larry's been hit by a truck. He's laying in the street.
And how old was he?
2.5.
Okay.
So we run out there, hit by a truck, you know, run over, who knows?
Right.
And we go out there, and he was on the ground when we got out there.
Moving? Crying?
Stunned, I suppose.
My version of the story is different.
Okay, you tell yours in a minute, Dad. You go on, Mom.
So, anyway, we brought him in and got ready to go to the hospital. I went in my pretty dress and get into this waiting room. He doesn't look hurt very badly to me. He is bleeding. There's, you know, he's scraped his face pretty bad. His arm was scraped pretty bad. Other than that, I didn't think there was anything wrong. So we get there, the emergency room, they put us in a room right away. And the nurse is in and out. We're sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. And I said, couldn't I please have a cold wash rag to wash his face? Oh, no, you can't do anything till the doctor sees it.
Right.
That's my memory. Okay, Dick.
Tell your version.
Lady comes in and says, your little boy's out here crying. And I said, oh, so? And she said, he's been hit by a truck and he's bloody all over. And I thought, holy crap. So I run out while your mother rushes to change her clothes.
Uh-huh.
No, I didn't change my
I
clothes.
thought you did.
No, I did not.
I thought you did. Anyway.
You wore the dress to the hospital?
Anyway, I know I got out there first, and he's laying in the gutter alongside the curb, and the truck driver's standing there having a spasm because was illegal to have a truck on that street.
Oh.
It was a pickup, but
It was a little bigger than a pickup.
not much.
But it was still,
Yeah,
you
it
couldn't
wasn't
have
a
trucks
semi.
on it.
It wasn't a semi, it was a single axle truck. Anyway, and I'm watching Larry and I notice he's moving everything.
So you don't think anything's broken.
And so nothing's broken. And although he has a scrape on his face and it's bloody, the fact that he's moving things and whimpering would indicate to me that his brain hasn't been scrambled either. And some guy in a party right behind the house comes out, because there's a big crowd by now, with a, what do you call it, a bourbon glass.
Mm-hmm.
He walks over and says, "What's going on?" And I said, "Well, some guy just ran over my kid." And he looks down and here's Larry, a mess. Must have moved the whole evening. Well, then they had private ambulances in Springfield. The first ambulance gets the job.
Oh, that's
You
interesting.
don't want to be on the street when the ambulances were looking for work.
Right.
It was in the paper every day that there'd been a smash up by an ambulance. Well, they showed up ahead of a bunch of others, and then your mother was from that point on.
And you guys all rode in the ambulance together.
No.
Oh.
She might have, but I didn't.
Did we go by ambulance?
I don't remember doing that.
No, I don't think we did. I
Yeah,
think
I
you
think
said
we
no,
followed.
we're taking our
Yeah,
car.
we followed him with the car.
Okay. Oh, wait, but Larry was in the ambulance.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't take Larry in the car.
You thought you did?
I don't remember an ambulance at all.
They showed up, full force.
I don't remember an
And
ambulance.
I don't remember putting Larry in the car, so I figured they must have taken
Right.
him. We followed it.
And then he was fine? He just had cuts?
Yeah,
was
he was
scraped.
just scraped.
Cheapers.
Bruised.
How'd he get hit?
And then we were to watch him all night, if there
Yeah, for
was a
concussion or whatever.
something.
What happened, from what I could gather, the truck was moving along and Larry was running, looking over his shoulder at something, and he ran into a wheel. And the wheel threw him up against the curb.
Oh, okay.
He'd been one step sooner, the thing would have run over.
Yeah. Ugh.
He missed death 3 times that year.
Yeah.
He's saved for something. We're waiting to see what it is.
Cat with 9 lives has got 6 to go.
Okay, so Wesley.
All right, so this is been summer with Wesley.
Yeah, you were 7 months pregnant with Wesley during this.
And of course, this is the right time when we had the girl from Iran living with us up until you got through with school, right, Dick?
Well, moved.
Huh?
That's right, when I got done with school. That's great.
You got done in the summer, and
I got done in June.
she was gone already.
Yeah, she moved across the street, I think.
So, anyway, life continued, and it's getting close to Wesley's due date. And Dick calls me at 10 in the morning, and he said, "Guess what? We're moving to Park Falls." I said, "No, we're not. I'm having a baby today."
We'll move tomorrow.
It's the only time I said, "No, we're
Right.
not moving." So he came home, and we had the baby that day. I don't remember much about Wesley's birth other than that. Exactly 6 weeks later, we were loading up in the car and saying goodbye to our neighbors and taking off.
What made you realize you were having Wesley that day? That can just go in the bottom of the laundry basket.
I have no idea what.
You can't remember.
I just knew what.
Right, by your 6th kid.
Yeah.
And had you lived in Park Falls before yet?
Yeah.
We lived in Butternut,
Butternut.
which is 5
Yeah,
miles
3
north.
years.
Oh, okay.
We'd had a 3-year stint
Yeah,
there
we've been in
before.
Butternut 3
Okay.
years.
So we took off. This is the interesting part of that story. We took off, not the only time that we'd never seen where we were going to live. This time, somebody had told us there was this house available.
Guy I replaced.
Oh, you moved into the same Forest Service house?
Same yeah.
Was he living in that one?
He was a Forest Service. And
But he was living in it?
Yeah, he was living in that house. Yeah.
So when we came to Springfield, how did we find that one? Some Forest Service. How did we? when
Okay,
we
the
went to
first
Springfield?
house we lived in,
How?
the previous occupant was Forest Service, and he called me and he said, "Would you like the house? It's available."
She's talking about
So are
Springfield.
you telling me it's the same story at Park Falls?
Wait a minute, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Springfield.
No, while we were on Park Falls.
Right.
That big house in Park Falls.
I don't remember how we hooked onto that.
So in neither situation did we have a picture of the house or anything like that.
But the house was there for you?
It wasn't there for us.
There was,
It was there.
you were told there's a house for sale and you said we would buy it.
Okay, we were first told there's a house for rent,
Okay.
and we rented it. It's no longer there. It was torn down in a year later. Then we rented it for, I don't know, 1 year maybe.
Now we're back. Now you're back in Springfield. I want to know how we got that one in
No,
Park
I'm
Falls.
talking about Park Falls, the first house we rented.
Well, yeah, but
All right.
that was the same. Although we rented the second time in Springfield, that's true.
Anyway, we rented the house in Park Falls, and Manny Stein, who is a Forest Service employee, was moving out to wherever the hell he was moving out to.
Mhm.
Told me his house was up for sale, so he went and looked at
That's
it.
the house that
That's-
you were born.
That's the
Okay,
house he was
okay.
born in.
So you lived 1 year in Park Falls in a rented house and then moved into the house that
Then
we all
bought
lived
one.
in.
Yeah,
Okay.
then we bought
Yeah.
it.
And in Springfield, you said that was a Forest Service family there.
The
That
first
house?
house,
Yeah.
the first house, he called me, I knew him.
The Spanish house?
No,
No,
that was
the
before
one
that.
previous to that.
Okay.
He called me, and he said, I'm moving out, and the house is gonna be available, do you want it? And I said, yes. And we moved right in.
So that was the one. 6 weeks later, we moved into that small. That was a small house, very
Yeah.
nice little house, little.
hmm
And
Your mother starts looking for another place, and I don't know how you
I
found
kept watching in the newspaper,
Was it-
and I called. This was interesting, TJ. I called this man and inquired about the house. I had already driven by it, and I was interested. And he said, "Well, I'd like to talk to you." And I said, "Okay." He drove up unexpectedly, without an appointment, and introduced himself. And I said, I'm sure he came to see what kind of housekeeper I was.
Oh,
I just had that feeling
Yeah.
from the minute on. He was a nice young man. He was younger than we are.
but he wanted to assess how you live.
But they had renters in the house, the Spanish house. The kids had jumped through the ceiling.
Oh, gosh.
They'd gone up there. It was an unfinished ceiling,
Uh-huh.
and they'd made a hole in the ceiling. And he wasn't too eager to have all these tiny babies move in.
Yeah.
But he looked at the house was spotless. As Mary said, just, my 80th birthday, she said, I just wish we didn't have to clean so much.
You wouldn't have gotten a house if you hadn't.
The kids were all tied down.
Everything was picked up, neat, clean. Came at 10 in the morning, and
Yeah,
a
our
lot
house
of
doesn't look like
places
that
could
ever.
be-
Our house doesn't ever look like that.
Your mother kept a good
So,
house.
but anyway, I don't know that, but I think that. So those were, and the one in where Jenny was born, we simply drove into town, Poplar Bluff, went to the Catholic priest's house,
True.
and said, do you by any chance know of any place that we could rent? He said, yeah, right across the street. They just moved out. He knew them.
And did you have the whole family with you?
Oh,
Well, it
yeah.
was Jenny. We only had
Oh,
Tom.
Tommy and Jenny. Okay.
We had Tom.
Oh, just Tommy. Okay.
Just Tom.
So
Anyway.
then we move. Then we get that house, and we get it right away, and we move. It's empty,
Yeah.
and so we move in with the little bit we had in the car,
Oh, okay.
and waited like 10, 12 days for the truck not to come, not to come, not to come.
Yeah. He
And
was waiting
finally-
for a full load.
And finally,
of course.
Dick complained. Dick had called once, and finally Dick complained at the Forest Service office, and they called the trucking company, and they moved our truck.
2 weeks later.
Okay, so the trucker shows up. And he sees my unit. He says, if I know this, he says, your furniture would never have made it. And I said, oh, tell me why. He says, I'm grinding up through the Sierra Madre in California, and there's smoke everywhere, and all of a sudden here's this roadblock. He says, this guy with a uniform like yours. And he says, can you handle heavy equipment? And he says, like a fool? I said, yeah, I'll get out of the truck. No way, I'm going. Just then he says, the state trooper shows up with a big gun. And he says, get out of the truck. So he said, for 10 days, my truck sat on the sideline while I drove a bulldozer. Because California in those days had a law, you could be drafted in emergencies.
Right.
Minnesota had it.
Get your car commandeered or whatever.
Yeah, you could be commandeered. He said they had a doc there. He checked to see if my heart was beating. It was. I'm on a bulldozer.
Wow.
Anyway, he said, if I known you were one of them.
Right.
I never heard that part of the story.
So
And I think you know the other part of the story. Irma had never been in Missouri, and she thought this would be a good time to visit with summer vacation from teaching.
Mhm.
So she drove her car down. And of course, we weren't coming from exactly the same places, and she met us there. So she's now visiting us with this same waiting for the truck every day. I don't know where she was sleeping because we didn't have a bed.
Yeah.
On the floor. So anyway, she said, if I'd known this, I'd put my, how can I say it? I'd put a ladder in the car and we'd have all this painting done.
Yeah, they put a stepladder in the car.
Into the life of me, that's one of the best stories possible. I'd have had a stepladder.
right. So did you tell Wesley's? Or Wesley was just
Well, it was just that we're moving.
Oh, right. Okay, and you said no, we're
moving
not.
Today.
So then
I
Mary.
really don't remember anything else. Must have been quite uneventful.
Right. That's good.
There was too much going on to be anything to remember
Mhm.
about. Hey, you're just another one of the bunch, Wes.
I can't remember how we found the house in,
In where?
in Butternut, the restaurant keeper. And we had a meal there. And I asked, do you know any houses for rent in town? Because we tried Park Hall every night. And the cook, my boss, wanted us to go to Phillips, which is 18 miles down the road.
Mhm.
Well, geez. Butternut's only 6.
Right.
That's another county. They never went that way.
Oh.
So, and that's when the guy who ran the restaurant said, well, I know a house that's empty. And I know the owner. I'll call her to see if she'd like to rent it. $40 a month. Yeah, we could do that.
Your rent was $40 a month? Oh my gosh. What year was it? 1961?
It would have been 62.
62.
June of 62. 128 Highway 13.
That was your address.
So with Mary, we moved in the fall, and I probably got pregnant. And I'd have to figure out the months to know if at the time when we moved, if I already was or not.
Right.
But anyway, moved into a house that was spotlessly clean. This Forest Service woman actually cleaned the floors with a metal nail file.
Oh my
Get
gosh.
it all- I mean, you've never seen such spotless cupboards and everything like that. She had a big family too, but boy.
Wait, this is,
The
I
house
thought you
she
rented
lived
for,
in.
you rented for a year and then you were going to move into the house that you owned.
Right.
So this is the house that you were going to buy that you
Wait a
owned.
minute.
I'm talking
We were talking
about.
Butternut. We were talking.
Oh, Butternut. I thought you were talking about Mary.
No, I switched to Mary and he
Yeah.
didn't keep up with me. You
I
and
know.
I are talking about the Park Falls house because
Okay.
we're going to talk about where Mary was born.
Okay.
So you rented a house in Park Falls for a year.
Yeah.
And then this spotless house is the one that you were going to buy.
Mhm.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so we moved in the fall, and the Sears and the Salinas on the other side of us.
Mhm.
We were told that, oh my gosh, you're buying that house? They could not get along with their neighbors, and it would be so terrible to live there next to those two. I mean, we heard this
About both Sears and Jelena's?
Yeah, they can't get along with their neighbors at all. I mean, oh my gosh, they were just, and I'm like, I always liked anybody that I lived next door to. I can't believe this. We got along fine with them. There was some kind of dog situation going on between the three
Steins
families.
had a dog that wasn't friendly.
Oh, okay.
It was a German Shepherd, a big German Shepherd.
Mm-hmm.
And if it had stayed in its yard, that would have been okay, but it didn't roam the neighborhood.
And Jelena's had a dog too?
No,
All we had was kids.
Okay.
we don't really know except that we were told
Yeah.
all
that's-
these things in advance.
And
Plus,
that's-
I don't think the Jelenas and the Sears themselves got along very much.
Oh,
So
okay.
we got 3 in a row that
Yeah.
Yeah. Clash.
Anyway, the dog appeared to be the thing that was
causing some
the catalyst for everything else.
So whatever, the house was clean, it was nice, and we were in there, and it's working out really well for us, and I'm pregnant, and it was Palm Sunday when Mary was born.
Oh, okay.
And I think I went to Mass in the morning, and then we took a drive to, what's the name of the town? Fifield? Is that where the bridge was with the ice, Dick? Was it Fifield? What was south of Park Falls?
Fifield.
Okay, so we took a drive to underneath the bridge. The ice was cracking up in the spring and piling up in the river. It was really
So you have all the kids in the car to go see this?
I don't know. Dick and I went.
Oh, okay.
I do know, probably. And then when we got home, then around 2 that afternoon, I went to the hospital.
Okay. But you don't remember if you don't think your water broke?
No, I doubt it.
Okay.
And I think I might have suspected before we took the drive.
Right. And then this is the
might
first
be
time you were in the room, Dad, when the baby was born?
with Mary.
No, Teresa was the only one.
Oh, I'm the only one.
You,
Okay.
The same doctor.
same doctor.
Okay.
And when you were born, instead of having your hands under here, you had them up here and you were doing this. And I thought, holy crap. And then I realized it was your hands and not horns. And you and Mary were the two who came out of the delivery room. Somebody lied to me. All the other kids, but not you two.
After Karen, did I talk about Karen's birthday
No.
at all? Because she was born in June. I always missed her birthday because it's about the time school's out.
Mhm.
There's so much commotion going on. But thing I remember about her deliveries, when I mentioned Dr. Enzinger, who delivered several of the kids, delivered Larry and Peggy, and then you two.
Mm-hmm.
And then he lived, only 4 houses up the street from us.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So he,
But he didn't deliver Mary?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
or where was Mary born? Yeah, she was born there.
Okay.
So it would have been. So when Karen was born, I remember him coming out after the delivery, or not even coming out. We're in the same room. I'm still there at delivery. And you have a fine baby girl, but he said, I want to show you something. And he held up her birth cord. It was not this, it was one straight thing. And he said, this was wrapped around her, it's X'd over twice.
Ugh.
So we were just so lucky she was alive.
Yeah.
He said it must have been on her, she must have gotten that entangled in it early on so that it stretched with her through the hole. But he said if you didn't have such a fast delivery, you probably wouldn't have her alive.
Oh.
Because he said he just never seen one that was so stretched out like that.
That's so weird.
Yeah. And so that was nice that there's fast deliveries. Okay, So now it's your turn. 4 years later. I'm just getting ready to take up golf lessons and I get pregnant with you. Go with golf.
You never learned golf?
No.
Probably a good thing.
Bridge is cheaper.
Right.
Bridge is okay, but golf.
So let's see what happened with you. There were several days that I thought I might go into delivery before you were born. And each time, I'd have some of the pains and they'd go away. My body's getting so lazy. It just doesn't want to get on with this time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get through with it. Okay, so like the third day then. And this time I can't remember, we probably went over around noon or 10 in the morning or something. At 3 in the afternoon, things had stopped again. And I'm too let me go home.
Mm-hmm. And they weren't doing Pitocin on that one?
No.
Okay.
And Dr. Enzinger said, no, stay a little longer. And then then 5 o'clock rolls around and he had office hours, again, very near the hospital and our house. And he's kind of roaming the halls. It's 5 o'clock and he should be going to his office at 6. And Dick's out there and he's pacing back and forth. Well, then he said, I don't know. He said, I just feel like something could happen. And he says to Dick, let's go in here and talk. So they go into the room next to my delivery room, and I'm laying there watching the clock.
Bored,
and it's
right.
getting 5, 6, something like that. They're talking, and I'm beginning to know the baby's coming.
Mhm.
And they're talking photography. So, yeah, I'm mad at Dick, that Jenny didn't come to see me, and this one he's going to delay the doctor
Right.
talking. But the doctor came in, and just like that, you were born, and the doctor, I can remember, I can see the doctor going, come on, you can come a little closer to see
To you,
the
Dad?
delivery. Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Oh, quite vividly. There was a delivery room, and then there was just a little sitting room alongside. But otherwise, we could see everything in the delivery room, just a little alcove.
Mm-hmm.
So the doc goes in to deliver the baby. He says, "Come on in. You probably had to see this the first time." He was, and it was all very exciting. Like I said, you were different than the rest of them.
But by then, this was the 5th delivery that Enzinger is doing, and
Yeah.
he knew Dick. They had talked photography other times than this. That's why I can remember the clock, like you were born, I don't know, 5 after 6 or something in the afternoon. You're in here.
Right. Oh, I think I'm
having
like
this baby
8:57
now.
at night, Mom.
What'd you say?
I'm 8:57, I think, at night.
Well,
So
I
you
don't
were
know
waiting a
about
long
6.
time.
Hmm?
Said you were waiting a long time. Because I think I'm almost 9 o'clock.
Well, whatever time it was, in my mind it's 5 after 6, but maybe that's when I got there,
Right.
and then they finally. So that's 9 of them, and no water stories
Right.
to go with.